the religious principle of devotional service. Yamaraja thus satisfied the Yamadutas, who had been very disappointed. Yamaraja said, although Ajamila was calling for his son, he chanted the holy name of the Lord, Narayana, and simply by a glimpse of the chanting of the holy name, he immediately achieved the association of Lord Vishnu's order carriers, who saved him from your attempt to arrest him. This is quite all right. It is a fact that even a chronically sinful person who chants the holy name of the Lord, although not completely without offenses, does not take another material birth. Wow. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, Ajamila had met four order carriers of Lord Vishnu. They were very beautiful and had quickly come to rescue him, Yamaraja, to rescue him. Yamaraja now described them. The Vishnu Dutas are all pure devotees of the Lord, the Supreme Person, in regard to the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this cosmic manifestation. Neither King Indra, Varuna, Shiva, Brahma, the seven rishis, or I myself can understand the transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord, who is self sufficient and beyond the reach of the material senses. Wow. With material senses, no one can attain enlightenment about him. The Lord, the master of the illusory energy, possesses transcendental qualities for the good fortune of everyone, and his devotees are also qualified in that way. The devotees concerned only with the rescuing the fallen souls from this material world apparently take birth in different places in the material world just to save the conditioned souls. If one is somewhat interested in spiritual life, the devotees of the Lord protect him in many ways. Yamaraja continued, the essence of Sanatana Dharma, or eternal religion, is extremely confidential. No one but the Lord himself can deliver that confidential religious system to human society. It is by the mercy of the Lord that the transcendental system of religion can be
Understood.
understood by his pure devotees, and specifically by the 12 Mahajanas, Lord Brahma, Narada Muni, Lord Shiva, the Kumaras, Kapila, Manu, Prahlada, Janaka, Bhisma, Bali, Sukadeva Goswami, and me. Other learned scholars, headed by Jaimini, are almost always covered by the illusory energy, and therefore they are more or less attracted by the flowery language of the three Vedas, namely Rig Veda, Rig, Yajur, and Sama Veda, which are called Trayi. Instead of becoming pure devotees, people captivated by the flowery words of these three Vedas are interested in the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. They cannot understand the glories of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Intelligent persons, however, take to the devotional service of the Lord. When they chant the holy name of the Lord without offenses, they are no longer subject to my rulings. If by chance they commit some sinful act, they are protected by the holy name of the Lord, because that is where their interest lies. The four weapons of the Lord, especially the club and the Sudarshana chakra, always protect the devotees. One who chants, hears, or remembers the holy name of the Lord without duplicity, or who prays or offers obeisances to the Lord, becomes perfect, whereas even a learned person may be called to hell if he is bereft of devotional service. After Yamaraja thus described the glories of the Lord and his devotees, Sukadeva Goswami further explained the potency of chanting the holy name and the futility of performing Vedic ritualistic ceremonies and pious activities for atonement. Interesting. Okay. Now, text one. King Parikshit said, O my Lord, O Sukadeva Goswami, Yamaraja is the controller of all living entities in terms of their religious and irreligious activities. But his order had been foiled when his servants, the Yamadutas, informed him of their defeat by the Vishnudutas, who had stopped them from arresting Ajamila. What did he reply? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Sri Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura says that although the statements of the Yamadutas were fully upheld by Vedic principles, the statements of the Vishnudutas were triumphant. This was confirmed by Yamaraja himself. Text number 2. O great sage, never before has it been heard anywhere that an order from Yamaraja has been baffled. Therefore, I think that people will have doubts about this that no one but you can eradicate. Since that is my firm conviction, kindly explain the reasons for these events. Sri Sukadeva Goswami replied, My dear king, when the order carriers of Yamaraja were baffled and defeated by the order carriers of Vishnu, they approached their master, the controller of Samyamani Puri and master of sinful persons, to tell him of this incident. Text number 4. The Yamadutas said, Our dear Lord, How many controllers or rulers are there in this material world? How many causes are responsible for manifesting the various results of activities performed under the three modes of material nature: Sattva guna, Raja guna, and Tamoguna? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Sri Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura says that the Yamadutas, the order carriers of Yamaraja, were so disappointed that they asked their master, almost in great anger, whether there were many masters other than him. Furthermore, because the Yamadutas had been defeated and their master could not protect them, they were inclined to say that there was no need to serve such a master. If a servant cannot carry out the orders of his master without being defeated, what is the use of serving such a powerless master? Text number 5. If in this universe there are many rulers and justices who disagree about punishment and reward, their contradictory actions will neutralize each other, and no one will be punished or rewarded. Otherwise, if their contradictory acts fail to neutralize each other, everyone will have to be both punished and rewarded.
Mhm.
Okay.
Purport.
Second. Text 3.
Okay, we are in text.
Text 4.
No, text
Oh,
5.
I'm sorry. Text 5.
Purport. Purport.
Yeah, purport. Yeah, sorry. Because the Yamadutas had been unsuccessful in carrying out the order of Yamaraja, they doubted whether Yamaraja actually had the power to punish the sinful. Although they had gone to arrest Ajamila following Yamaraja's order, they found themselves unsuccessful because of the order of some higher authority. Therefore, they were unsure of whether there were many authorities or only one. If there were many authorities who gave different judgments, which could be contradictory, a person might be wrongly punished or wrongly rewarded, or he might be neither punished nor rewarded. According to our experience in the material world, a person punished in one court may appeal to another. Thus, the same man may be either punished or rewarded according to different judgments. However, in the law of nature or the court of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there cannot be such contradictory judgments. The judges and their judgments must be perfect and free from contradictions. Actually, the position of Yamaraja was very awkward in the case of Ajamila because the Yamadutas were right in attempting to arrest Ajamila, but the Vishnudutas had baffled them. Although Yamaraja, under these circumstances, was accused by both the Vishnudutas and the Yamadutas, he is perfect in administering justice because he is empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he will explain what his real position is and how everyone is controlled by the Supreme Controller, the Personality of Godhead. Text 6. The Yamadutas continued, since there were many different karmis or workers, there may be different judges or rulers to give them justice. But just as one central emperor controls different departmental rulers, there must be one supreme controller to guide all the judges. Okay, that's good. That's avoiding chaos. Purport. In governmental management, there may be departmental officials to give justice to different persons, but the law must be one, and that central law must control everyone. The Yamadutas could not imagine that two judges would give two different verdicts in the same case, and therefore they wanted to know who the central judge is. The Yamadutas were certain that Ajamila was a most sinful man, but although Yamaraja wanted to punish him, the Vishnudutas excused him. This was a puzzling situation that the Yamadutas wanted Yamaraja to clarify. Text number 7. The Supreme Judge must be one, not many. It was our understanding that you are that Supreme Judge and that you have jurisdiction even over the demigods. Our impression was that you are the master of all living entities, the supreme authority who discriminates between pious and impious activities of all human beings. Text number 8. But now we see that punishment ordained under your authority is no longer effective, since your order has been transgressed by 4 wonderful and perfect persons. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Yamadutas had been under the impression that Yamaraja was the only person in charge of administering justice. They were fully confident that no one could counteract his judgments. But now, to their surprise, his order had been violated by the 4 wonderful persons from Siddhaloka. Text number 9. We were bringing the most sinful Ajamila toward the hellish planets, following your order, when these beautiful persons from Siddhaloka forcibly cut the knots of the ropes with which we were arresting him. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur remarked that the Yamadutas wanted to bring Vishnudutas before Yamaraja. If Yamaraja could then have punished the Vishnudutas, the Yamadutas would have been satisfied. And it's not going to happen. Text 10. As soon as the sinful Ajamila uttered the name Narayana, these 4 beautiful men immediately arrived and reassured him, saying, Do not fear. Do not fear. We wish to know about them from your lordship. If you think we are able to understand them, kindly describe who they are. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The order carriers of Yamaraja, being very much aggrieved because of their defeat by the four Vishnudutas, wanted to bring them before Yamaraja and, if possible, punish them. Otherwise, they desired to commit suicide before pursuing either course. However, they wanted to know about the Vishnudutas from Yamaraja, who is also omniscient, meaning knowing everything. All right. Text number 11. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, thus having been questioned, Lord Yamaraja, the supreme controller of the living entities, was very pleased with his order carriers because of hearing from them the holy name of Narayana. He remembered the lotus feet of the Lord and began to reply. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Yamaraja, the supreme controller of the living entities in terms of their pious and impious activities, was very pleased with his servants because they had chanted the holy name of Narayana in his dominion. Yamaraja has to deal with men who are all sinful and who can hardly understand Narayana. Consequently, when his order carriers uttered the name of Narayana, he was extremely pleased, for he also is a Vaishnava. Okay. Yamaraja said, my dear servants, you have accepted me as the supreme, but factually I am not. Above me and above all the other demigods, including Indra and Chandra, is the one supreme master and controller. The partial manifestations of his personality are Brahmana, Vishnu, and Shiva, who are in charge of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this universe. He is like the two threads that form the length and breadth of a woven cloth. The entire world is controlled by him, just as a bull is controlled by the rope in its nose. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The order carriers of Yamaraja suspected that there was a ruler even above Yamaraja. To eradicate their doubts, Yamaraja immediately replied, yes, there is one supreme controller above everything. Yamaraja is in charge of some of the moving living entities, namely the human beings, but the animals who also move are not under his control. Only human beings have consciousness of right and wrong, and among them only those who perform sinful activities come under the control of Yamaraja. Therefore, although Yamaraja is a controller, he is only a departmental controller of a few living entities. Therefore, there are other demigods who control many other departments, but above them all is one supreme controller, Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha. The supreme controller is Krishna. Others who control their own departments in the affairs of the universe are insignificant in comparison to Krishna, the supreme controller. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mata Parataram Nanya Kinchit Asti Dhananjaya. My dear Dhananjaya, Arjuna, no one is superior to me. Therefore, Yamaraja immediately cleared away the doubts of his assistants, the Yamadutas, by confirming that there is a supreme controller above all others. Srila Madhavacharya explains that the words otam protam refer to the cause of all causes. The Supreme Lord is both vertical and horizontal to the cosmic manifestation. This is confirmed by the following verse from the Skanda Purana. Yata Kanta Pada Sutra Ota Protascha Sa Stita Evam Vishnav Idam Vishvam Otam Protam Chasam Stitam. Like the two threads, horizontal and vertical, of which a quilt is manufactured, Lord Vishnu is situated as the vertical and horizontal cause of the cosmic manifestation. Text number 13. Just as the driver of a bullock car ties ropes through the nostrils of his bulls to control them, the Supreme Personality of Godhead binds all men through the ropes of his words in the Vedas, which set forth the names and activities of the distinct orders of human society: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. In fear, the members of these orders all worship the Supreme Lord by offering him presentations according to their respective activities. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this material world, everyone is conditioned, regardless of who he is. One may be a human being, a demigod, or an animal, tree, or plant, but everything is controlled by the laws of nature. And beyond this material control is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, this is confirmed by Bhagavad Gita 9.10, wherein Krishna says, Maya dakshena pakriti suyutesa characharam. The material nature is working under my direction and producing all moving and non-moving beings. Thus, Krishna is behind the natural machine which works under his control. Apart from other living entities, the living being in the human form of body is systematically controlled by the Vedic injunctions in terms of the divisions of Varna and Ashrama. A human being is expected to follow the rules and regulations of Varna and Ashrama. Otherwise, he cannot escape punishment by Yamaraj. The point is that every human being is expected to elevate himself to the position of a Brahmana, the most intelligent man, and then one must transcend that position to become a Vaishnava. This is the perfection of life. The Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra can elevate themselves by worshiping the Lord according to their activities. Sve sve karmani avirata samsudim labdate nara. The divisions of varna and ashrama are necessary to ensure the proper execution of duties and peaceful extension. And peaceful existence for everyone. But everyone is directed to worship the Supreme Lord, who is all perfect. Who is all pervading. Yena sarvam idam tatam. The Supreme Lord exists vertically and horizontally. Otam protam. And therefore, if one follows the Vedic injunctions by worshiping the Supreme Lord according to one's ability, his life will be perfect, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.13, Atak Punbir Vijal Shrestha Varnashrama Vibhagasa Swanustitasya Dharmasya Samsadir Haritoshanam. O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging his prescribed duties or dharma according to the caste divisions and orders of life is to please the Lord Hari. The Varnashrama institution offers the perfect process for making one eligible to return home back to Godhead, because the aim of every Varna and Ashrama is to please the Supreme Lord. One can please the Lord under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. And if one does so, his life is perfect. The Supreme Lord is worshipable, and everyone worships him directly or indirectly. Those who worship him directly get the results of liberation quickly, whereas the liberation of those who serve him indirectly is delayed. The words Namabir Vachi are very important. In the Varnashrama institution, there are different names: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi. The Vak, or Vedic injunctions, give directions for all these divisions. Everyone is expected to offer obeisances to the Supreme Lord and perform duties as indicated in the Vedas. Texts 14 and 15. I, Yamaraja, Indra, the king of heaven, Nirriti, Varuna, Chandra, the moon god, Agni, Lord Shiva, Pavana, Lord Brahma, Surya, the sun god, Vishvasu,
Vishwas.
the eight Vasus, the Sandhyas, the Maruts, the Rudras, the Siddhas, and Marichi, and the other great rishis engaged in maintaining the departmental affairs of the universe, as well as the best of the demigods, headed by Brihaspati, and the great sages, headed by Brigu, are all certainly free from the influence of the two base material modes of nature, namely passion and ignorance. Nevertheless, although we are in the mode of goodness, we cannot understand the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What then is to be said of others who, under illusion, merely speculate to know God? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The men and other living entities within this cosmic manifestation are controlled by the three modes of nature. For the living entities controlled by the base qualities of nature, passion, and ignorance, there is no possibility of understanding God. Even those in the mode of goodness, like the many demigods and great rishis described in these verses, cannot understand the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, one who is situated in the devotional service of the Lord is transcendental to all the material qualities. Therefore, the Lord personally says that no one can understand him but the bhaktas. Okay, so there's a big but here. Who are transcendental to all the material qualities. Bhaktyamam abhijanati, as stated by Bhismadeva to Maharaja Yudhishthira in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.9.16, Nahi asya kavichit rajan pumam veda vidisitam yad viji janasaya yukta muyanti kavayo pihi. O king, no one can know the plan of the Lord, Sri Krishna, even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively. They are bewildered. No one, therefore, can understand God by speculative knowledge. Indeed, by speculation, one will be bewildered, muyanti. This is also confirmed by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita 7.3. Manushyanam sahasresu kaschit jatati siddhaye yatatam hi apisitanam kaschit mam veti tattva. Among many thousands of men, one may endeavor for perfection. And even among the siddhas, those who have already become perfect, only one who adopts the process of bhakti, devotional service, can understand Krishna. Okay, very nice verse. Text 16. As the different limbs of the body cannot see the eyes, the living entities cannot see the Supreme Lord.
Very good.
And the eyes are too close. Who is situated as the Supersoul in everyone's heart, not by the senses, by the mind, by the life air, by thoughts within the heart, or by the vibration of words, can the living entities ascertain the real situation of the Supreme Lord. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Although the different parts of the body do not have the power to see the eyes direct the movements of the body's different parts. The legs move forward because the eyes see what is in front of them, and the hand touches because the eyes see touchable entities. Similarly, Every living being acts according to the direction of the Super Soul, who is situated within the heart. As the Lord Himself confirms in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Sarvasya Chaham Riddhi Sanivasto Matakshmiti Jnanam Apahanam Cha. I am sitting in everyone's heart and giving direction for remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hirdese Rajuna Tistati. The Supreme Lord, as the Super Soul, is situated within the heart. The living entity cannot do anything without the sanction of the Super Soul. The Super Soul is acting at every moment, but the living entity cannot understand the form and activities of the Super Soul by manipulating its senses. The example of the eyes and the bodily limbs is very appropriate. If the limbs could see, they could walk forward without the help of the eyes. But that is impossible. Although one cannot see the supreme of the super soul, one's heart through sensual activities, his direction is necessary. Text 17. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is self-sufficient and fully independent. He is the master of everyone and everything, including the illusory energy. He has his form, qualities, and features, and similarly, his order carriers, the Vaishnavas, who are very beautiful, possess bodily features, transcendental qualities, and a transcendental nature, almost like his. They always wander within this world with full independence. Purport by His Divine Grace. Yamaraja was describing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Controller. But the order carriers of Yamaraj were very eager to know about the Vishnu Dutas, who had defeated them in their encounter with Ajamila. Yamaraja therefore stated that the Vishnu Dutas resemble the Supreme Personality of Godhead in their bodily features, transcendental qualities, and nature. In other words, the Vishnudutas or Vaishnavas are almost as qualified as the Supreme Lord. Yamaraja informed the Yamadutas that the Vishnudutas are no less powerful than the Lord Vishnu. Since Vishnu is above Yamaraja, the Vishnudutas are above the Yamadutas. Persons protected by the Vishnudutas, therefore, cannot be touched by the Yamadutas. Good. Text 18. The order carriers of Lord Vishnu, who are worshipped even by the demigods, possess wonderful bodily features, exactly like those of Vishnu, and are very rarely seen. The Vishnu Dutas protect the devotees of the Lord from the hands of enemies, from envious persons, and even from my jurisdiction, as well as from natural disturbances. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Yamaraj has specifically described the qualities of the Vishnudutas to convince his own servants not to be envious of them. Yamaraja warned the Yamadutas that the Vishnudutas are worshipped with respectful obeisances. Lord obeisances, okay, by the demigods and are always very alert to protect the devotees of the Lord from the hands of enemies, from natural disturbances, and from all dangerous conditions in this material world. Sometimes the members of the Krishna Consciousness Society are afraid of the impending danger of world war and ask what would happen to them if a war should occur. In all kinds of danger, they should be confident of their protection by the Vishnu Dutas or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Kuntiya Pratijani, Nami Bhakta Pranasiti. Material danger is not Padam, is not meant for devotees. This is also confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. Padam yat vipadam na tesam. In this material world, there are dangers at every step, but they are not meant for devotees who have fully surrendered onto the lotus feet of the Lord. Now that is good knowledge. The pure devotees of Lord Vishnu may rest assured of the Lord's protection. And as long as they are in this material world, they should fully engage in devotional service by preaching the cult of Sri Chaitanya Maharaj and Lord Krishna, namely the Hare Krishna movement of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Text number 19. Real religious principles are enacted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although fully situated in the mode of goodness, even the great rishis who occupy the topmost planets cannot ascertain the real religious principles, nor can the demigods or the leaders of Siddhaloka, to say nothing of the asuras, ordinary human beings, Vidyadharas, and Charanas. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When challenged by the Vishnudutas to describe the principles of religion, the Yamaduta said, Veda Pranihito Dharma. The religious principles are the principles enacted in the Vedic literatures. They did not know, however, that the Vedic literature contains ritualistic ceremonies that are not transcendental, but are meant to keep peace and order among materialistic persons in the material world. Real religious principles are nishtragunya, above the three modes of material nature, or transcendental. The Yamadutas did not know these transcendental religious principles, and therefore, when the perverted, when the um, when prevented from arresting Ajamila, they were surprised. Materialistic persons who attach all their faith to the Vedic rituals are described in Bhagavad Gita 2.42, wherein Krishna says, Veda Vada Rata Partha Nanyat Astati Vadina. The supposed followers of the Vedas say that there is nothing beyond the Vedic sermon. Indeed, there is a group of men in India who are very fond of the Vedic rituals, not understanding the meaning of these rituals, which are intended to elevate one gradually to the transcendental platform of knowing Krishna. Vedaischa sarver aham veda eva vedya. Those who do not know this principle, but who simply attach their faith to the Vedic rituals, are called Veda Vada Rata. Herein it is stated that the real religious principle is that which is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That principle is stated in Bhagavad Gita. Sarvadharmam parityaja mam ekam saranam vraja. One should give up all other duties and surrender unto the lotus feet of Krishna. That is the real religious principle everyone should follow. Even though one follows Vedic scriptures, one may not know this transcendental principle, for it is not known to everyone. To say nothing of human beings, even the demigods in the upper planetary systems are unaware of it. This transcendental religious principle must be understood from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, directly or from his special representative, as stated in the next verses. Text 20 and 21. Lord Brahma, Bhagavan Narada, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, Lord Kapila, the son of Devahuti, Swayambhuva Manu, Prahlada Maharaj, Janaka Maharaj, Godfather Bhisma, Bali Maharaja, Sukadeva Goswami, and I myself know the real religious principle. My dear servant, this transcendental religious principle, which is known as Bhagavata Dharma, or surrender unto the Supreme Lord and love for him, is uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. It is very confidential and difficult for ordinary human beings to understand. But if by chance one fortunately understands it, he is immediately liberated, and thus he returns home back to Godhead. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna refers to the Bhagavata Dharma as the most confidential religious principle. Sarvaguya tamam, guya guyataram, guya guyataram. Krishna says to Arjuna, because you are my very dear friend, I am explaining to you the most confidential religion. Sarvadharmam parityaja mamekam saranam vraja. Give up all other duties and surrender unto me. One may ask, if this principle is very rarely understood, what is the use of it? In answer, Yamaraja states herein that this religious principle is understandable if one follows the parampara system of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, and the other standard authorities. There are 4 lines of disciplic succession one from Lord Brahma, one from Lord Shiva, one from Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, and one from the Kumaras, the disciplic successions from Lord, from Lord Brahma. It's called the Brahma Sampradaya. The succession from Lord Shiva, Sambhu, is called the Rudra Sampradaya. The one from Goddess of Fortune, Lakshmi, is called the Sri Sampradaya, and the one from the Kumaras is called the Kumara Sampradaya. One must take shelter of one of these four sampradayas in order to understand the most confidential religious system. In the Padma Purana, it is said, Sampradaya Vihina Ye Matraste Nispala Mata. If one does not follow the four recognized disciplic successions, his mantra or initiation is useless. In present day, there are many apasampradayas or sampradayas which are not bona fide, which have no link to authority. The Lord, or like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the Kumaras, or Lakshmi, people are misguided by such sampradayas. The Shastras say that being initiated in such a sampradaya is a useless weapon of time, for it will never enable one to understand the real religious principles. Text 22. Devotional service, beginning with the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, is the ultimate religious principle for the living entity in human society. Is our time over?
Yeah, just about 7:35.
Okay. Well, let's be the last purport. Devotional service, beginning with the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, is the ultimate religious principle for the living entity in human society. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. As stated in the previous verse, Dharmam Bhagavatam, real religious principles, are Bhagavata Dharma, the principles described in Srimad Bhagavatam itself, or in Bhagavad Gita, the preliminary study of the Bhagavatam. What are these principles? The Bhagavatam says, Dharma Pujita Kaita Gotra. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there are no cheating religious systems. Everything is the Bhagavatam directly connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Bhagavatam further says, Savai Pumsa Haro Dharmo Yato Bhaktir Ahokshaje. The supreme religion is that which teaches its followers how to love the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond the reach of experimental knowledge. Such a religious system begins with Nama Grahana, chanting of the holy name of the Lord, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam. After chanting the holy name of the Lord and dancing in ecstasy, one gradually sees the form of the Lord, the pastimes of the Lord, and the transcendental qualities of the Lord. This way, one fully understands the situation of the personality of Godhead. One can come to this understanding of the Lord, how he descends into the material world, how he takes his birth, and what activities he performs, but one can know this only by executing devotional service. Very important. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati, simply by devotional service, one can understand even everything about the Supreme Lord. If one fortunately understands the Supreme Lord in this way, the result is Tyakva Deham Punarjanma 90. After giving up his material body, he no longer has to take birth in this material world. Instead, he returns home, back to Godhead. That is the ultimate perfection. Therefore, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 8.15, Mam upetya punarjanma dukalayam asasvatam na punuvanti mahatmana siddhim paramam datta. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotional service never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries. Why? Because they have attained the highest perfection. Okay, we'll do text 23 and then we'll stop. My dear servants, who are as good as my sons, just see how glorious is the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. The greatly sinful Ajamila chanted only to call his son, not knowing that he was chanting the Lord's holy name. Nevertheless, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, he remembered Narayana, and thus he was immediately saved from the ropes of death. Haribol, Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There is no need to conduct research into the significance of the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. The history of Ajamila is sufficient proof of the power of the Lord's holy name and the exalted position of a person who chants the holy name incessantly. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nameva Kevalam, Kalo Nasti, 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 Gatiranyata. In this age of Kali, no one can perform all the ritualistic ceremonies for becoming liberated. That is extremely difficult. Therefore, all the Shastras and all the Acharyas have recommended that in this age one can chant the holy name. What is the holy name? Krishna or Harinam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Text 24. Therefore, it should be understood that one is easily relieved from all sinful reactions by chanting the holy name of the Lord and chanting of his qualities and activities. This is the only process recommended for relief from sinful reaction. Even if one chants the holy name of the Lord with improper pronunciation, he will achieve relief from material bondage if he chants without offensive. Ajamila, for example, was extremely sinful, but while dying, he merely chanted the holy name, and although calling his son He achieved complete liberation because he remembered the name Narayana. Oh boy, this is a long purport. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In the assembly of Raghunath Dasa, the Swami's father, Haridasa Thakura, confirmed that simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is liberated, even if he does not chant completely, inoffensively. Smarta Brahmanas and Mayavadis do not believe that one can achieve liberation in this way. But the truth of Haridas Thakura's statement is supported by many quotations from Srimad Bhagavatam. In his commentary on this verse, for example, Sridhar Swami gives the following quotation: Sayam prataryanam bhaktya dukkha grama vimuchyate. If one always chants the holy name of the Lord with great devotion in the evening and in the morning, one can become free from all material miseries. Another quotation confirms that one can achieve liberation uh, if one hears the holy name of the Lord constantly, every day, with great respect. Anudinam idam adarena shrinvan. Another quotation says, Shravanam kirtanam dhyanam Hare adbhuta karmana Janma karma gunanam cha tad arte kila chestitam. One should always chant and hear about the extraordinarily wonderful activities of the Lord. One should meditate upon these activities and one should endeavor to please the Lord. Bhagavatam 11:3-27. Sridhara Swami also quotes from the Puranas, Papakshaya cha bhavati smaratam tam aharnisam. One can become free from all sinful reactions simply by remembering the lotus feet of the Lord day and night, aharnisam. Furthermore, he quotes from Bhagavatam 6.3.31. Tasmat Sankirtanam Vishnor Jagan Mangalam Hasam Mahatam Apikoravya Vidi Aikantika Niskatram Kritam. All these quotations prove that one who constantly engages in chanting and hearing the holy activities, name, fame, and form of the Lord is liberated. As stated wonderfully in this verse, Etavatalam Aga Niharanya Pumsam. Simply by uttering the name of the Lord, one is freed from all sinful reactions. The word alam, which is used in this verse, indicates that simply uttering the holy name of the Lord is sufficient. This word is used with different imports, as stated in the Amar Kosha, the most authorized dictionary in the Sanskrit language. Alam Busana Paryapti Shakti Varanam Vachakam. The word alam is used to mean ornament, sufficiency, power, and restraint. Here, the word alam is used to indicate that there is no need of any other process for the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is sufficient. Even if one chants imperfectly, one becomes free from all sinful reactions by chanting. This power of chanting the holy name was proved by the liberation of Ajamila. When Ajamila chanted the holy name of Narayana, he did not precisely remember the Supreme Lord. Instead, he remembered his own son. At the time of death, Ajamila certainly was not very clean. Indeed, he was famous as a great sinner. Furthermore, one's physiological condition is completely disturbed at the time of death. And in such an awkward condition, it would certainly have been very difficult for Ajamila to have chanted clearly. Nevertheless, Ajamila achieved liberation simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, meaning Narayana. Therefore, what is to be said of those who are not sinful like Ajamila? Yeah, if you're not sinful and you chant the holy name of the Lord, you're guaranteed liberation. It is to be concluded that with a strong vow, one should chant the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. For thus one will certainly be delivered from the clutches of Maya by the grace of Krishna. Okay, it's a very wonderful statement. The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is recommended even for persons who commit offenses, because if they continue chanting, they will gradually chant offenselessly. By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra without offenses, one increases his love for Krishna, as stated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prema Pumartha Mahan. One's main concern should be to increase one's attachment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and to increase one's love for Him. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes the following verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.19.24. Evam dharmai manusyanam udhavatam mani vedinam mayi sanjayate bhakti ko nyo rito swavasisyate. My dear Uddhava, the supreme religious system for human society is that by which one can awaken his dormant love for me. Commenting on this verse, Sri Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur describes the word bhakti by saying, Premai vokta ka anya artha asya. In the presence of bhakti, what is the necessity of liberation? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also quotes this verse from the Padma Purana. Nama parad adha yuktanam lamani eva haranti agam avishranti prayuktani tani evarta karani cha. Even if in the beginning one chants the Hare Krishna mantra with offenses, one will become free from such offenses by chanting again and again, Papa Shayas, Cha Bhavati Smaratam, Tam Ahar Nisam. One becomes free from all sinful reactions if one chants day and night, following the recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who quoted the following verses. Harinama, Harinama, Harinameva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. If the members of the Krishna consciousness movement strictly follow this recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their position will always be secure. Gold Premanande, Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Okay, I think we'll stop right there. Is our time up? Is the time finished? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's a nice place to stop. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. If the members of the Krishna consciousness movement strictly follow this recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their position will always be secure. Well, that means always chant Harinama, Harinama, Harinameva Kevalam, Hello Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Katiranyata. Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Okay, thank you, my dear devotees. Are there any questions? Any questions or comments you would like to make? Okay, our takeaway for today. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur also quotes this verse from the Padma Purana. Nama aparada yuktanam, namani eva haranti agam, avishranti payuktani, tani evata kalani cha. Even if in the beginning one chants the Hare Krishna mantra with offenses, one will become free from such offenses by chanting again and again. Papa Kshayas Cha Bhavati Smaratam Tam Ahar Nisam. One becomes free from all sinful reactions if one chants day and night, following the recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who quoted the following verse. Harinama, Harinama, Harinameva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. If the members of the Krishna consciousness movement strictly follow this recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their position will always be secure. So this reminds me of something that happened a long time ago. There was a devotee, a very dear friend of mine, and he actually deviated from Krishna consciousness. But one day I saw him and I asked him, I said, Prabhu, are you still chanting? He said, yes, but I'm not chanting like you. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, I don't chant, in a mechanical way like you do. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. I don't do that instead. I only chant once a year on New Year's Eve. But that one time chanting that I do is worth millions of times better than all the chanting you do. So I didn't argue with him. But that was, he was very adamant like that. Now, he was a very smart man, very, very smart, and a very good friend of mine, but he was nonsense. He deviated. He was definitely deviated. And that nowhere in the Shastra does it say one should only chant once on New Year's Eve. The holy name. This is something he made up. But the way he's such a smart guy, he's very, very clever, right? And he thought that, he was able to make me look like a fool, right? So, but I didn't argue with him. I said, look, you do whatever you want to do. I'm going to continue chanting every day the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Even if you think I chant mechanically, I don't care. Because Prabhupada did not say only chant Hare Krishna once on New Year's Eve. Once a year on New Year's Eve. I told him, I said, he never said anything like that. So that's your own, philosophy. But it's not bona fide. But I'm glad you chant once in a year. It's better than zero. So, therefore, it says, it was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who quoted the following verse. Now, even if in the beginning one chants the Hare Krishna mantra with offenses, one will become free from such offenses by chanting again and again. Papakshaya cha bhavati smaratam tam ahar nisam. One becomes free from all sinful reactions if one chants day and night, following the recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You see how this guy is nonsense. He said, I only chant one time on New Year's Eve, as if, he thinks that will be sufficient. Well, that is better than nothing, but that is not what is being recommended. Even if in the beginning one chants the Hare Krishna mantra with offenses, one will become free from such offenses by chanting again and again. Under no circumstances should we stop chanting Hare Krishna. Papakshaya cha bhavati smaratam ahar nisam. One becomes free from all sinful reactions if one chants day and night, following the recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu didn't say chant once on New Year's Eve. It was Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who quoted the following verse, Harinama, Harinama, Harinameva Kevalam, Kalu Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There's no other way, there's no other way, there's no other way. If the members of the Krishna consciousness movement strictly follow this recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their position will always be secure. Okay, so that is our takeaway for today. And let's be very clear. Prabhupada never said you should only chant Hare Krishna once on New Year's Eve. Well, that's better than nothing, but that is not recommended. We should never stop chanting Hare Krishna day in and day out, not once on New Year's Eve. Okay, but I mean, that's better than nothing to chant on New Year's Eve once in a year, but it's not recommended. It's much better to chant all the time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Maha Mantra ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Gaur Premanande, Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. All right, we'll stop right there. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, our takeaway for today: in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There's no other way. There's no other way. There is no other way. If the members of the Krishna consciousness movement strictly follow this recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their position will always be secure. There it is. This is the real knowledge of how to chant Hare Krishna. One should chant incessantly, without stoppage, always, every day, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as much as we can. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And this is the recommendation of Lord Chaitanya himself, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the one that is saying this. Okay, yeah.
So Maharaj, in the last line, it says their position will always be secure. So does it mean we will be always be engaged in the service? Or because position is already eternal.
Well, we'll be always engaged and protected. That's what it means. That's why it says their position will always be secure. Why? Because they will always be chanting Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Maharaj, one more quick question.
Yes.
Maharaj, in the purport as well as it's mentioned that when whoever actually chants Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and who are surrendered to Krishna, they will not to worry on the material path. That's what it's called out here. But why devotees are struggling? Why devotees will have so much difficulties, pain? Because that's all material pain, you know.
Okay. Well, the answer is here. It says, in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, it means that in this age, people are quarreling and they're being hypocritical. They're not being honest. Right? The only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There's no other way, there's no other way, there's no other way. If the members of the Krishna consciousness movement strictly follow this recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so what is his recommendation? Always chant Hare Krishna as much as you can. But at least you have to chant 16 rounds a day. That's the minimum. But there is no maximum. If the members of the Krishna consciousness movement strictly follow this recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their position will always be secure. So if we want to be secure in this lifetime, day after day, minute after minute, every second of the day, we should always be chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. There's no other way. There's no other way. There's no other way. If the members of the Krishna consciousness movement strictly follow this recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their position will always be secure, meaning they will always be protected by the mercy of the Lord, so that they can continue chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare.
Hare Krishna Maha Mantra Ki Jai.
Jai.
There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. That's I uh, I rest my case. There's no other way.
So Prabhupada has quoted this verse twice in 23rd text and then 24th text. Hare Nama, Hare Nama.
Yeah, that's right.
In 23rd purport and then again 24th purport.
Well, what does that mean? That means it's extremely important. It has the utmost importance. All right. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for your mercy
Correct.
of educating us in what is real Krishna consciousness. There is no other way. There's no other way. There's no other way. We must always be chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. For thus one will certainly be delivered from the clutches of Maya by the grace of Krishna, by always chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So if anyone says something different, just ignore what they say. This is what we're going to do. We're going to always chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra with love and devotion for Krishna, and with complete faith that Krishna will liberate us from the cycle of birth and death. For thus one will certainly be delivered from the clutches of Maya by the grace of Krishna. That's if you chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. For thus one will certainly be delivered from the clutches of Maya by the grace of Krishna. This is a absolute promise by Krishna. Okay, thank you very much, my dear devotees. These are wonderful statements. Okay, so our takeaway for today. What is to be, therefore, what is to be said of those who are not simple like Ajamil? It is to be concluded that with a strong vow, one should chant the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. For thus one will certainly be delivered from the clutches of Maya by the grace of Krishna. The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is recommended even for persons who commit offenses, because if they continue chanting, they will gradually chant offenselessly. By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra without offenses, one increases his love for Krishna. As stated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prema Pramartha Mahan, one's main concern should be to increase one's attachment to the Supreme Personality Godhead and to increase one's love for Him. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes the following verse from Srimad Bhagavatam: Evam dharmar manushyanam udhavat mani vedinam mai sanchayate bhakti ko nyo rito swavasis. My dear Uddhava, the supreme religious system for human society is that by which one can awaken his dormant love for me, meaning Krishna, Commenting on this verse, Srila Vishwanath Thakur describes the word bhakti by saying, Premaya Vokta Ka Anya Artha Asya. In the presence of bhakti, what is the necessity of liberation? Srila Vishwanath Thakur also quotes this verse from the Padma Purana, Nama Parada Yuktanam Namani Eva Haranti Azam Avishranti Prayuktani Tani Evarta Purani Cha. Even if in the beginning one chants the Hare Krishna mantra with offenses, one will become free from such offenses by chanting again and again. Papa Shayascha Bhavati Smaratam Aharnisam. One becomes free from all simple reactions if one chants day and night, following the recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who quoted the following verse, Harinama, Harinama, Harinameva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. If the members of the Krishna consciousness movement strictly follow this recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their position will always be secure. Wow, it's wonderful statements, wonderful statement. This is real knowledge. This is a real, pure Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Krishna Mahamantra
Ki Jai.
Srila
Srila
Prabhupada
Prabhupada
ki
Ki
Jai.
Jai.
All glories to Prabhupada. Okay, that was wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Amazing. Make sure yeah, don't forget this.